The bridge of the Wandering Star erupted in controlled chaos. Crew members rushed to their stations while others pulled up tactical displays and damage reports. The view screen showed a sight that made Taemin's blood run cold. The way station hung in space like a wounded creature. Its cylindrical structure, designed to house thousands, was scarred with blast marks and breaches. Around it, like predators circling prey, 6 Kravik raider ships darted and weaved, firing weapons at the station's failing shields. "Status report," Doyen commanded, sliding into his captain's chair. Hana's fingers danced across her tactical console. "The station is under siege by Kravik pirates. 6 ships, medium-class raiders. The station's defenses are holding, but barely. Shields are down to 20%. Civilian casualties? Unknown. The station sent out an evacuation order 15 minutes ago, but they're having trouble launching all the escape pods. The raiders keep targeting them." Taemin felt sick. He had read about Kravik pirates. They were known for attacking refugee stations, stealing supplies and selling survivors into slavery. Sarah stepped closer to the view screen. "Why are they attacking a refugee station? There's no military value." "Supplies, hostages, cruelty," Jiwon said bitterly from communications. "Kraviks don't need good reasons. They take what they want." Captain Doyen stood, his jaw set. "Sunwoo, plot an intercept course." "Maximum speed." "Captain," Hana protested, "we're outgunned." 6-1 odds. "And we have non-combatants aboard." She glanced at Taemin, Sarah, and Yuna. "I know the odds," Doyen replied. "But there are thousands of people on that station, families, children. We can't just run away." Taemin made a decision. He moved to an empty console. "I can help. I'm a navigator. Let me calculate attack vectors." Doyen looked at him for a long moment, then nodded. "Sunwoo, give him access." Yuna was already at Minho's side in the engineering section. "Tell me what you need." "I can help optimize power distribution," Sarah spoke up. "I should prepare medical. There will be casualties." Dr. Kyung appeared at her side. "Come, we work together." The Wandering Star accelerated, pushing its engines to maximum. The distance to the way station shrank rapidly on the displays. The Kravik ships noticed the new arrival, and 2 of them broke off to intercept. 2 raiders incoming, Hana announced. "They're moving to cut us off." Taemin's hands flew over the navigation console. Numbers and trajectories filled his mind. He could see the pattern, the flow of the battle. "Captain, if we adjust course by 3 degrees and increase speed by 15%, we can use the station's gravity well to slingshot past them." Sunwoo checked the calculations. "That's insane. The timing window is less than 2 seconds. But it will work," Taemin insisted. Doyen didn't hesitate. "Do it." The ship banked hard, engines screaming as they pushed beyond safe limits. The 2 Kravik raiders fired, their weapons blazing. But the Wandering Star was already moving, using the station's gravity to whip around in an impossible arc that put them behind the enemy ships. "Return fire," Doyen ordered. The human ship's weapons weren't as powerful as military vessels, but they were accurate. Targeted shots struck the raiders' engines, not to destroy but to disable. 1 Kravik ship spun out of control. The other retreated, leaking atmosphere. 4 hostiles remaining, Hana reported. "They're regrouping." On the station, Taemin could see escape pods launching. Tiny vessels carrying refugees away from the battle. But the Kravik ships were hunting them, shooting at the defenseless pods. "They're targeting civilians," Jiwon said, her voice shaking with rage. Doyun's face was hard as stone. "Hana, target their weapon systems. We stop them from killing, even if we can't stop them completely." What followed was a dance of desperation and skill. The Wandering Star was outnumbered and outgunned, but it had something the raiders didn't expect: coordination and purpose. While the Kraviks fought for plunder, the humans fought to save lives. Taemin worked with Sunwoo, plotting courses that put the human ship between the raiders and the escape pods. Each time a Kravik vessel tried to target a civilian craft, the Wandering Star was there, shields absorbing the hits meant for the defenseless. In engineering, Yuna and Minho performed miracles. They rerouted power on the fly, strengthening shields at the exact moment of impact, then redirecting energy to weapons for counterattacks. The ship's systems were being pushed far beyond their design limits. Dr. Kyung and Sarah prepared medical bay for casualties. Sarah watched the human doctor work with quiet amazement. Kyung moved with practiced efficiency, but she also talked to her patients, held their hands, offered comfort along with medicine. "In Velthian military medicine, we fix bodies," Sarah said. "You heal people," Kyung smiled sadly. There is difference, yes. Bodies are easy. People are hard. On the bridge, the battle reached its peak. 3 Kravik ships remained active, and they had adapted to the human tactics. They split up, forcing the Wandering Star to choose which civilians to protect. I can't shield all the escape pods, Hana said desperately. There are too many. 2 spread out, Taman saw it then. A pattern in the chaos, a solution that was risky, maybe impossible, but it was their only chance. Captain, I need you to trust me. Taman pulled up a new navigation plot. There's a debris field 2,000 kilometers from here. Remnants of an old space station. If we can lure the Kravik ships there, the debris will interfere with their targeting systems. How do we lure them? Doyen asked. We make ourselves the biggest target. Taman's voice was steady despite his racing heart. We shut down our shields and run. They'll chase us. They always chase what looks weak. Hana shook her head. That's suicide. 1 good hit without shields and we're done. Unless we don't give them a good hit. Taman highlighted the trajectory. The debris field has clear paths, but you need to know exactly where they are. I do. I can navigate us through. The Kraviks will follow blind and crash into the debris. Sunwoo studied the plot. This is brilliant. Also completely insane. I like insane, Minho's voice came over the intercom. Insane keeps life interesting. Doyen looked at Taman. Really looked at him. Then he smiled. You're sure about this? No, Taman admitted. But I'm sure about you. About this crew. About what we're fighting for. Then we do it. Doyen keyed the ship-wide intercom. All hands brace for evasive maneuvers. We're about to do something stupid. The Wandering Star's shields dropped. Immediately, the Kravik ships changed targets, abandoning the escape pods to chase the now vulnerable human vessel. They saw easy prey and they wanted it. They're taking the bait, Hana confirmed. All 3 ships in pursuit. Maximum speed, Doyen ordered. Taman, you're our eyes. Get us through that debris field alive. What followed was the most intense flying of Taman's life. He called out course corrections every few seconds. Left 3 degrees. Roll starboard. Drop 200 meters. The ship responded instantly to his commands, threading through the debris field like a needle through cloth. Behind them, the Kravik ships weren't so lucky. They had the speed but not the knowledge. One clipped a piece of debris and spun out. Another tried to follow too closely and collided with an old satellite. The third pulled back, realizing the trap, but it was too late. From the other side of the debris field, 4 human fighter craft emerged. Small, fast ships from the way station's defense force. This is Fighter Wing Alpha, a voice crackled over communications. Thanks for the setup, Wandering Star. We've got it from here. The human fighters engaged the remaining Kravik ship. Outnumbered and outmaneuvered, the raiders finally retreated, jumping to FTL and abandoning their attack. Silence fell over the bridge. Then someone started clapping. Hana. Then Jiwon. Then the whole crew erupted in cheers. Doyen walked over to Taman and put a hand on his shoulder. That was some of the finest navigation I've ever seen. I learned from watching Sunwoo, Taman said, feeling his face heat. You did more than watch. You saved thousands of lives today. Doyen's voice was warm with pride. The Wandering Star docked with the way station 2 hours later. The damage was extensive but not catastrophic. Thanks to the evacuation and the defense, casualties were minimal. The station commander, a human woman named Yunji, met them at the airlock. Captain Doyen, I owe you a drink. Several drinks. She pulled him into a brief hug. Your timing was perfect. Another 10 minutes and we would have lost the station. Thank my navigator. Doyen gestured to Taman and his friends. They made the difference. Commander Yunji turned to the 3 Veltians. Her expression shifted to curiosity, then understanding. You're the refugees, the ones who were abandoned. We were, Sarah confirmed. Now we're not sure what we are. You're survivors, Yunji said firmly. And heroes, from what I hear. You helped save this station. That counts for something. Over the next few days, Taman, Sarah, and Yuna helped with repairs. They worked alongside humans and other species, learning that cooperation was possible, that different peoples could work together for common good. Refugees on the station heard their story. 3 Velthians sentenced to death for showing mercy, saved by humans who risked everything. The story spread. Within a week, secret messages began arriving. Other Velthians scattered across the galaxy, asking if the rumors were true, asking if there was really a place where compassion was valued over cruelty. Taman woke to softness. Actual softness. Not the hard metal sleeping pods of Velthian military ships, but something gentle that gave way beneath his weight. His eyes opened slowly, adjusting to warm lighting that was nothing like the harsh white glare he was used to. He was in a bed. A real bed with blankets and a pillow. The room around him was small but comfortable, painted in calm blue colors. A small window showed the stars streaming by at FTL speeds. "You're awake?" "Good." A female voice spoke in accented Velthian. Taman turned his head, wincing at the pain in his neck. A human woman sat beside his bed, her face kind and lined with age. She wore medical whites with various instruments attached to her belt. "I am Dr. Kyung," she said. "You were injured during the evacuation. Concussion and 2 broken ribs. I fixed the ribs. The concussion needs rest. Where am I?" Taman tried to sit up, but gentle hands pressed him back down. "Medical bay on Wandering Star. You are safe. Your friends are safe." Kyung adjusted something on a monitor beside the bed. "They are worried about you. They want to visit, but I told them you need rest first." "How long was I unconscious?" 14 hours. "Not so long," Kyung smiled. "You were lucky. The hull plate that hit you could have killed you." Taman remembered the chaos of the evacuation, running through corridors as the ship tore itself apart. A sudden impact. Then nothing. "Why are you helping us?" he asked. "Your ship is in danger because of us. Your crew could have died. Why risk everything for 3 strangers?" Kyung was quiet for a moment, considering her words. "Let me ask you something. If you saw a child drowning in a river, would you jump in to save them?" "Of course. Even if the river was dangerous? Even if you might drown too?" "Yes, but that's different. That's a child." "Why is it different?" Kyung tilted her head. "A life is a life. Child or adult, friend or stranger. Your species or mine. When someone needs help, good people help. That is all. The Velthian Empire doesn't think that way. I know. I read your medical files. I saw what happened with the wounded prisoners." Kyung's expression grew sad. "Your people chose cruelty and called it strength. But real strength is choosing compassion even when it's hard." The door to the medical bay slid open. Sarah and Yuna rushed in, their faces lighting up when they saw Taman awake. "You scared us," Yuna said, grabbing his hand. "When that hull plate hit you, we thought—" Her voice broke. "I'm fine," Taman assured her. "Dr. Kyung fixed me." Sarah studied the medical equipment around his bed with professional interest. "This technology is remarkable. The bone reconstruction method. The way they monitor brain activity. It's years ahead of our medical science. Would you like to see more?" Kyung asked. "I can show you our medical bay. We have time before your friend needs to rest again." Sarah's eyes widened. "Really? You'd share your medical knowledge?" "Of course. Knowledge should be shared. How else do we grow?" Kyung stood and gestured for Sarah to follow. "Come, I show you." As they left, Yuna sat on the edge of Taman's bed. "This place is amazing. The humans are amazing. Everything about them is different from what we know." "How so?" "Their ship, for one thing. I've been working with Minho in engineering. Their design philosophy is completely opposite to ours." Yuna's excitement grew as she talked. "Velthian ships prioritize efficiency. Maximum weapons, minimum crew space, everything optimized for military function. But human ships? They have recreation areas. Actual rooms just for relaxation and entertainment. They have gardens, Taman. Gardens on a spaceship. That seems wasteful. That's what I thought at first. But Minho explained it to me. He said humans learned that crews perform better when they're happy and healthy. So they design ships with crew welfare in mind, not just military capability." Yuna shook her head in wonder. "Their redundancy systems are incredible too. Everything has backups, backups of backups. They plan for things to go wrong and build in ways to handle it. Velthian ships are built to not go wrong in the first place, and when they do go wrong, people die." Yuna's voice was soft. "Like we almost did." The door opened again. Captain Doyen entered, followed by a slim human man with steady hands and alert eyes. "Glad to see you're recovering," Doyen said. "This is Sunwoo, our navigator. I thought you two might want to talk. You both speak the language of stars and trajectories." Sunwoo gave a small bow. "Your navigation work during the evacuation was impressive. You calculated safe paths through collapsing ship sections in real time. Very skilled." Taman felt his face warm at the praise. "I just did what was necessary." "Necessary or not, it saved lives." Doyen pulled up a chair. "I came to discuss your situation." We need to talk about what happens next. The warmth drained from the room. Taman knew what was coming. The Velthian Empire has issued kill orders, Doyen continued. Not just for you three. For our ship as well. We're now considered enemies of your people. I'm sorry, Taman said miserably. We brought this on you. No, we chose this. Doyen's voice was firm. We knew the risks. We made our decision. You have nothing to apologize for. Yuna gripped Taman's hand tighter. What will happen to us? Can we ever go home? Doyen and Sunwoo exchanged glances. Home as you knew it is not possible anymore. The Empire wants you dead. If you return, you'll be executed. But, Sunwoo added gently, you don't have to face this alone. We're heading to a human way station in neutral space. It's a safe harbor for refugees and travelers. Many species live there. You could request asylum. Asylum? Sarah had returned, drawn by the serious conversation. With humans? With humanity, yes. Doyen stood and walked to the window, looking out at the stars. I want to tell you something about my people. Something that might help you understand why we do what we do. He turned back to face them. Humans are not a naturally peaceful species. We are not saints. For thousands of years we fought each other. Wars, genocides, atrocities that shame us even now. We nearly destroyed ourselves multiple times. What changed? Taman asked. We learned. Slowly. Painfully. We learned that violence only creates more violence. That hate only breeds more hate. We learned that the only way forward was to choose compassion. Even when it was hard. Especially when it was hard. Doyen sat down again, his expression thoughtful. When we reached the stars and met other species, we made a promise to ourselves. We would not repeat our mistakes. We would help others avoid the pain we caused ourselves. So when we hear a distress call, we answer. Always. No matter who's calling. No matter the risk. That's why you came for us, Sarah said. Not because we were special, but because we needed help. Exactly. Doyen smiled. And now we offer you a choice. You can stay with us. Learn our ways. Maybe eventually help us spread the idea that compassion is not weakness, that mercy is not foolishness, that all life deserves protection. Yuna looked at Taman, then at Sarah. What do we do? Sarah was quiet for a long moment. Then she spoke. The Velthian Empire taught us that strength means domination, that helping enemies is treason, that mercy is a flaw to be eliminated, but these humans risked everything for us. They showed us a different way. A better way, Yuna added softly. Taman thought about his life before, the strict military hierarchy, the cold efficiency, the way Velthian ships felt more like prisons than homes. Then he thought about this ship, the warmth, the kindness, the way humans smiled and laughed even while working. I want to stay, he said. I want to learn more about humanity. I want to understand how you build a society based on compassion instead of fear. Me too, Yuna agreed immediately. Sarah nodded slowly. We were sentenced to death for saving lives. If that's a crime in the Empire, then I don't want to be part of the Empire anymore. Doyen's smile widened. Then welcome. We have several days of travel before we reach the way station. Use that time to rest, learn, and decide what you want to do next. Our resources are your resources. Our knowledge is yours to share. An alarm sounded from the bridge. Doyen's expression shifted instantly to concern. What now? Sunwoo checked a device on his wrist. His face went pale. Captain, you need to see this. The way station is under attack. The 3 Velthian warships emerged from FTL space like predators scenting blood. Each one was 10 times larger than the wandering star, bristling with weapons and armored plating. Their hulls bore the crimson markings of the Imperial fleet. Captain Doyen stood at the center of the human bridge, his face calm but his jaw tight. Around him, the human crew worked their stations with practiced efficiency. No panic, no shouting, just quiet competence. Taman watched from a secondary console, his heart hammering in his chest. He recognized the lead ship's designation. The absolute authority, Admiral Korvax's flagship. They're hailing us, G1 announced from communications. On screen, Doyen ordered. The view screen flickered to life. Admiral Korvax appeared, his scaled face twisted in anger. The Velthian officer wore full military dress, medals covering his chest. His eyes, cold and reptilian, fixed on Doyen. Unknown vessel, you are harboring Velthian military deserters. Surrender them immediately or be destroyed. Doyen stepped forward. I am Captain Doyen of the human ship Wandering Star. These people are not deserters. They are survivors we rescued from a disabled vessel. They are traitors to the Velthian Empire, Korvax spat. They gave medical aid to enemy combatants in violation of military law. They were sentenced to death. Their execution was simply delayed. Sarah and Una had joined Taman on the bridge. Sarah's face went pale. They sentenced us to death? We thought it was just abandonment. Your captain was too weak to carry out proper justice, Korvax continued. He chose exile instead. But the sentence remains. Those three will die. If you interfere, human, you will share their fate. Doyen's voice remained steady. We do not hand over refugees seeking protection. That is not our way. Then you will die for them. Korvax leaned forward. You have no idea what you've involved yourself in, alien. These criminals showed mercy to our enemies. They treated wounded soldiers who had killed thousands of our people. Such weakness cannot be tolerated. They are medical personnel, Doyen replied. They saved lives. That is their duty. Their duty is to the Empire. Korvax's shout echoed across the channel. Not to enemy filth. By helping our enemies survive, they enabled more death of our people. That is treason. That is unforgivable. Taman felt sick. He remembered the wounded prisoners. Young soldiers barely older than himself, bleeding and broken. Sarah had worked for hours to save them. Una had held their hands while they cried for their families. Your philosophy is wrong, Doyen said quietly. All life has value, even enemy life. Foolish words from a foolish species. Korvax made a gesture and the communication added 2 more windows. The other 2 ship captains appeared, flanking the admiral. You're outgunned, outmatched, and defending criminals. Stand aside or be eliminated. You have 3 minutes to comply. The transmission ended. Silence filled the bridge. Taman looked at the tactical display. The 3 Velthian warships had formed a triangle around the wandering star. Each ship's weapons were powering up. Plasma cannons, missile batteries, electromagnetic pulse generators. Enough firepower to vaporize the human vessel 10 times over. I'm sorry, Taman said, his voice breaking. We should go back. We should surrender. You don't have to die for us. Doyen turned to him. The captain's eyes were warm despite the situation. Do you want to go back? No, Sarah answered for all of them. They'll execute us, but we don't want you to die either. Then we have a problem, Doyen said, because I'm not letting you go back to die and they're not letting us leave. A young human woman at the tactical station spoke up. Captain, their weapons will be fully charged in 90 seconds. We can't survive their first volley. I know, Hana. Doyen walked to the center console and pulled up a schematic. But we have options they don't expect. Minho appeared from the engineering section, wiping grease from his hands. The experimental jump drive is ready, barely. Maybe. Possibly will not explode. That's not reassuring, Jiwan muttered. Best I can do with what we have. Minho shrugged. The Velthian ship is still docked with us. If we jump to FTL while connected, the stress could tear both ships apart. If we don't jump, we're definitely destroyed, Doyen pointed out. I'll take possibly torn apart over definitely vaporized. Hana's console beeped. Admiral Korvax is hailing again. The Velthian admiral's face reappeared. Your time is up, human. Final warning. Surrender the traitors or face destruction. Captain Doyen straightened his uniform. Admiral, I want you to understand something about humanity. We have a saying, no one gets left behind. It means we don't abandon people who need help. Ever. Even if it costs us everything. Then you are fools, Korvax sneered. Maybe, Doyen admitted. But we're fools who can live with ourselves. Can you say the same? Una stepped forward, her voice shaking but determined. Admiral, we treated those wounded soldiers because they were people. They had families. They had lives. We couldn't just let them die. They were enemies. Korvax roared. They were patients, Sarah said firmly. We took an oath to heal, not to judge who deserves healing. Your oaths mean nothing to the Empire. Korvax made a cutting gesture. Weapons free. Destroy them all. The transmission ended. On the tactical display, all 3 Velthian warships lit up as their weapons activated. 30 seconds to firing range, Hana announced, her voice tight. Doyen moved to his command chair. Sunwoo, plot an emergency FTL jump. Anywhere but here. A calm-voiced human at the navigation station nodded. Coordinates set, Captain. But with the other ship attached, the stress on both hulls will be catastrophic. Do it anyway. Doyen looked at Taman, Sarah, and Una. Hold on to something. This is going to be rough. Taman grabbed a support rail. His mind raced. These humans were about to risk their lives for 3 strangers. Not for money, not for advantage, just because it was right, Captain, Jiwan said softly. We don't even know if our shields can protect the Velthian ship during jump. The feedback could kill them. I know, Doyen replied, but leaving them to die definitely kills them. At least this way we try. 20 seconds, Hana counted down. Velthian plasma cannons are locked on target. Impact imminent. The human crew worked their stations with incredible speed. Commands were called out. Systems engaged. Power was rerouted from non-essential systems to shields and the jump drive. 10 seconds. Taman saw the humans' faces. They were scared. Of course they were scared. But none of them hesitated. None of them suggested abandoning the Velthians to save themselves. 5 seconds. 4. 3. Minho's voice came over the intercom. Jump drive charged. Probably won't explode, probably. Good enough, Doyen said. 2, 1, jump! The universe twisted. The wandering star lurched into FTL space while still physically connected to the Velthian medical frigate. The forces involved were never meant to affect a docked vessel. Metal screamed. Hull plates buckled. Alarms shrieked throughout both ships. Through the view screen, Taman saw the Velthian warships fire. Brilliant streams of plasma lanced through the space where they had been, but the wandering star was already gone, dragging the crippled frigate with it into the impossible realm of faster-than-light travel. The medical frigate couldn't handle the stress. Its already damaged structure began to tear apart. Hull breaches erupted across multiple sections. The docking tube connecting the 2 ships groaned and bent. The frigate is breaking up, Hana shouted. We're losing them! Sarah grabbed Taman's arm. Our ship is dying. We have to get everyone off. Yuna was already running toward the airlock. There's still equipment aboard. My tools, the medical supplies. Forget the equipment. Doyen's voice was urgent. Jiwan, sound evacuation. Get everyone off that ship now. Human crew members rushed to help. They ran through the buckling docking tube into the failing frigate, grabbing anything valuable and anyone still aboard. The ship groaned around them, metal twisting and snapping. Taman found himself being pulled along by a strong human hand. Minho dragged him through the chaos, shouting encouragement. Behind them, a section of the frigate's hull tore away, exposing the corridor to space for a brief moment before emergency bulkheads slammed shut. They tumbled through the airlock back onto the wandering star. Human hands caught them, steadied them, pulled them to safety. Sarah stumbled through next, supported by 2 human crew members. Yuna came last, clutching a data pad to her chest like it contained all the treasures in the universe. The docking tube was released. Through the view screen, they watched the medical frigate tumble away into the chaos of FTL space. The ship that had been their home, their prison, and nearly their tomb spun off into the void and was gone. They had escaped. The humans had saved them, but at what cost? The strange voice continued speaking through the static. Taman adjusted the frequencies, but nothing helped. The language was completely foreign, built on sounds and patterns his people had never encountered. Can you understand them? Yuna asked, moving closer to the communications console. No, it's like nothing in our translation database. Taman played back a recording of the transmission. Listen to the rhythm. It's so different from any language we know. Sarah studied the sensor readings of the alien ship. They're not attacking. They're just sitting there, watching us. Maybe they're deciding if we're worth the trouble, Yuna said quietly. The transmission ended. Silence filled the bridge, broken only by the hum of failing life support systems. Then the unknown ship began moving. It drifted closer to their crippled frigate with careful, deliberate movements. Taman's console lit up with new data. They're scanning us. Medical scans, structural analysis, atmospheric composition. They're trying to learn about us. Should we be worried? Yuna wrapped her arms around herself. Before anyone could answer, something unexpected happened. A shimmer of blue energy extended from the alien vessel and wrapped around their ship. Alarms blared. Shields! Sarah grabbed the edge of her console. They're surrounding us with their shields. Taman checked the readings twice to be sure. No, wait. They're not attacking. They're protecting us. Look at the trajectory calculations. There's a micrometeorite field nearby. Their shields are keeping the debris away from our hull. The 3 of them stared at each other in confusion. Why would an unknown species protect them? The communication system crackled to life again. This time, instead of voice, images appeared on the screen. Simple pictures. A circle, a triangle, a square, then numbers. 1, 2, 3 expressed in dots. They're trying to communicate, Taman said, excitement creeping into his voice. Using basic mathematics, universal constants. For the next hour, they exchanged simple concepts. The aliens showed patience, repeating patterns until understanding formed. Slowly, painfully, a basic vocabulary emerged. Yes, no, help, safe, danger. A new image appeared on the screen. It showed a crude drawing of their frigate connected to the alien vessel. An arrow pointed from one to the other. They want to dock with us, Sarah translated. Or they want us to dock with them, Una added. Either way, they want to connect the ships. Taman pulled up the frigate's status. We have 43 hours of oxygen left. Even if they can help, do we trust them? Do we have a choice? Sarah asked. Another image appeared. This one showed 3 figures inside the alien ship. Above them, symbols they had learned meant safe and help. Below, it showed the same figures in their dying frigate with the symbol for death. They understand our situation, Una whispered. They know we're dying. The alien ship maneuvered alongside their frigate. Through the view screen, they could see details of its hull. Strange writing covered the surface. Lights blinked in patterns that might be names or numbers. Near the bow, large symbols spelled something in the alien language. Look at their ship design. Sarah pointed at the sensor readings. It's not built for war. See the equipment configuration? Those look like research labs, medical facilities. This is a peaceful vessel. Una enhanced the image. There's something written on the side. Can we translate it? Taman worked with the communication system, using the vocabulary they had built. After several attempts, rough words formed on his screen. Wandering Star, I think that's their ship's name. A new transmission came through. This time it included sound paired with images. The alien voice said a word while showing a picture of their ship, then another word with a different image. They're teaching us their language, Taman said with wonder. The lesson continued, simple words at first. Ship, space, air, life. The alien voice was patient, repeating each word until they could recognize it. Male, female. The voice had a quality that was hard to define, but it sounded kind. An airlock tube extended from the wandering star toward their frigate. It moved with precision, locking onto their docking port with a gentle clunk that reverberated through the hull. Sarah checked the seal. It's perfect. They're very good at this. A hissing sound filled the corridor near the airlock. Taman checked the atmospheric sensors. They're pumping air into our ship. Clean, oxygen-rich air. Una started crying. She tried to hide it, wiping her face with her sleeve, but relief overwhelmed her. They weren't going to suffocate. Not yet anyway. The 3 of them gathered near the airlock. Through the small window, they could see movement on the other side. Shadows of the aliens moving around, preparing something. What do they look like? Una asked. I don't know, Taman admitted, but we're about to find out. The inner door of the alien airlock opened. 3 figures stood in the doorway, backlit so their features were hard to see. They were roughly the same height as Velthians, maybe slightly taller. 2 arms, 2 legs, 1 head. Bipedal, familiar body structure, but clearly different species. One of the aliens stepped forward into the light. Taman gasped. The creature had smooth skin and a warm brown tone. Hair grew from the top of its head in dark waves. 2 eyes, a nose, a mouth, all arranged in a face that was shockingly expressive. The alien wore a uniform of deep blue with symbols on the chest. The alien raised 1 hand. Palm forward, empty, peaceful. Then it spoke. Help, the alien said in halting Velthian, using their own language. The pronunciation was terrible, the accent thick, but the word was clear. We help you. Sarah took a step forward. You understand us? The alien shook its head. It pointed to a device on its collar. Machine. Translates, slowly learning. It gestured to itself. I am Jiwan. I speak for ship. Another alien stepped forward, older with gray in its hair. This one wore different symbols on its uniform. I am Doyen. I am captain. You are safe now. The third alien, younger with bright eyes, waved eagerly. Minho, I fix machines. I help your ship, Taman found his voice. I am Taman. This is Sarah and Una. We are grateful. We thought no one would come, Jiwan smiled. The expression transformed the alien's face, making it warm and friendly. Our people have rule. We hear distress call, we answer. Always, no matter who calls. But you don't know us, Una said. You don't know our species. We could be dangerous. Captain Doyen stepped fully into their ship. Up close, they could see the lines on his face, the tiredness around his eyes, but also the determination. All life is worth saving. This is human way. Human? Sarah repeated the word. You are humans? The humans from the legends? Jiwon laughed. It was a pleasant sound. Legends? We are just people. We travel, we explore, we help when we can. Minho moved past them, already pulling out tools and scanning devices. Your generator is dying. I can fix. Will take time, but can fix. We don't have much time, Taemin said. Maybe 40 hours of oxygen left. We have air to share, Doyen assured him. Our ship is connected now. Our life support is your life support. You will not die today. Sarah's professional mask finally cracked. She sat down heavily against the wall, her hands shaking. Thank you. Thank you. More humans came through the airlock, carrying equipment and supplies. They moved with purpose, but not aggression. They smiled at the three Velthians. They offered water and food. They asked permission before touching anything. Yuna followed Minho to engineering, peppering him with questions about human technology. Sarah accepted an invitation to see their medical bay. Taemin stayed with Captain Doyen and Jiwon on the bridge. Why did your crew abandon you? Doyen asked gently. The ship's log shows all escape pods were launched weeks ago. Taemin explained about the wounded prisoners, the treatment, the death sentence. Doyen's face grew dark as he listened. Your people punish mercy? The captain's voice was hard. This is wrong. It is our law, Taemin said quietly. Bad law, Jiwon stated firmly. Helping wounded is good. Healing is good. Your captain was coward to leave you here. Taemin couldn't argue with that. A console beeped urgently. Jiwon moved to check it, then froze. She spoke rapidly in human language to Doyen. The captain's expression shifted from concern to grim determination. What is it? Taemin asked. Doyen met his eyes. 3 ships just entered this sector. Big military vessels. The signatures match your Velthian Empire design. Taemin felt ice in his stomach. They're coming to make sure we're dead. The cold bit into Taemin's skin as the cryopod hissed open. His eyes struggled to focus in the dim emergency lighting. Something was wrong. The medical frigate should have been bright and busy, not dark and silent like a tomb. He pulled himself out of the pod, his muscles weak from the long sleep. The metal floor felt like ice under his bare feet. Taemin stumbled toward the main corridor, his breath forming small clouds in the freezing air. Hello? His voice echoed through the empty halls. No response. The ship creaked around him, a sound that made his skin crawl. He found a uniform locker and dressed quickly, his fingers shaking from cold and growing fear. Where was everyone? Taemin made his way to the bridge, passing empty stations and abandoned posts. Personal items lay scattered everywhere. A cup of cold tea sat on a console. A jacket hung over a chair. It looked like everyone had left in a hurry. On the bridge, he found Sarah hunched over a medical station, her face lit by the blue glow of a diagnostic screen. She looked up when he entered, and he saw the fear in her eyes before she hid it behind a mask of calm. You're awake, she said. Her voice was flat and controlled. Good. We need everyone conscious now. Where is the crew? Taemin asked. Sarah stood and walked to the main view screen. With a few commands, she brought up the ship's log. They left. 3 weeks ago. Captain Vraxis and all senior officers took the escape pods. Taemin felt his stomach drop. They left us? We were in cryo-sleep. They didn't bother to wake us. Sarah pulled up another screen. There's one more. Yuna, she's in engineering trying to keep the generators running. Why would they abandon the ship? Taemin moved to the navigation console. His trained eyes scanned the data, and his blood ran cold. We're in Sector 7 Gamma. This is a dead zone. No one comes here. Now you understand. Sarah turned away from him. They left us to die. The door to the bridge slid open, and a young woman entered. Yuna's face was smeared with grease and her uniform was torn. She carried a toolkit in one hand and a datapad in the other. Life support is failing, Yuna announced. She tried to sound professional, but her voice cracked. I've done everything I can, but the main generator has a coolant leak. We have maybe 67 hours before the oxygen runs out. Taman sank into the navigator's chair. His mind raced through possibilities, but each one led to the same conclusion. They were going to die out here. The distress beacon? He asked, already knowing the answer. Broadcasting for 3 weeks. Sarah confirmed. No response. No one is coming. Una sat down heavily on the floor, her toolkit clattering beside her. Why did they leave us? What did we do? Sarah was quiet for a long moment. When she spoke, her voice was barely above a whisper. Do you remember the prisoners we treated last month? The wounded soldiers from the Korthax border conflict? Taman nodded slowly. He had been new to the ship then, still learning the routes. Command found out we gave them medical care, Sarah continued. Full treatment, same as our own people. The captain received orders to execute us for treason. Helping enemy wounded is against military law. But they were dying, Una said. We're medical personnel. We had to help them. The Velthian Empire doesn't see it that way. Sarah pulled up the official orders on the screen. The words were cold and clear. Death sentence for all involved. Vraxis chose a different path. Instead of executing us, he brought us to this dead zone and abandoned us. Same result, but his hands stay clean. Taman stared at the star chart. Sector 7 Gamma sat at the intersection of 3 hostile territories. No trading routes passed through here. No patrol ships ventured into this area. It was the perfect place to lose someone forever. I need to record a message, Una said suddenly. She stood and walked to a communications terminal. For my family, they should know what happened. Sarah nodded. That's a good idea. We all should. The 3 of them spent the next hour recording messages they knew would never be received. Taman talked to his parents, telling them he was proud to be their son. He told his younger brother to study hard and stay curious. He didn't mention how scared he was. Una cried through most of her recording. She told her mother she loved her. She told her friends she was sorry for any arguments they'd had. She tried to be brave but couldn't manage it. Sarah recorded the shortest message. She simply stated the facts of what happened and asked that her medical research notes be given to the university. Her voice never wavered, but Taman saw her hands shaking. When they finished, an odd calm settled over the bridge. They had done all they could. Now there was nothing left but to wait. I never thought I'd die like this, Una said. She sat cross-legged on the floor, leaning against a console. I always imagined I'd be old, surrounded by grandchildren. I thought I'd die in surgery, Sarah admitted, working until the very end, making a difference. Taman looked out at the stars through the view screen. They looked so beautiful and so cold. I thought I'd see Earth someday, the human homeworld. Everyone says it's amazing, but I guess those are just stories. Humans aren't real, Una said. They're just myths, legends about a species that helps everyone. Maybe. Taman pulled up the distress beacon status. Still broadcasting, still unanswered. But wouldn't it be nice if they were? The hours crawled by. They took turns sleeping and watching the system slowly fail. The temperature continued to drop. The oxygen percentage ticked down number by number. 54 hours left. 50 hours. 48. Taman was dozing at his console when an alarm shrieked through the bridge. He jerked awake, his heart pounding. Sarah and Una rushed to their stations. What is it? Sarah demanded. Taman's fingers flew over the controls. His eyes went wide as he read the data. Proximity alert. Something just dropped out of FTL. A ship? Una's voice filled with desperate hope. Yes, but Taman frowned at the readings. The signature doesn't match anything in our database. It's not Velthian, not Korthax, not any known species. The 3 of them stared at the screen as the unknown vessel appeared. It was massive, at least twice the size of their medical frigate. Its hull was painted in strange colors and its design was unlike anything they had ever seen. They're hailing us, Sarah whispered. Taman's hand hovered over the communication controls. This could be pirates. This could be slavers. This could be something worse, but they were dead anyway. What did they have to lose? He opened the channel. Static filled the bridge. followed by sounds they couldn't understand. A voice spoke in a language that was completely alien to their ears. Someone had answered their call. In the cold darkness of space, against all hope and reason, someone had come.